Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The rules of procedure adopted annually to ensure a productive meeting. The select board meetings are in the public, not of the public, meaning the members of the public in attendance are entitled to the opportunity to comment, but the purpose of the meeting is for the board to be able to effectively and efficiently conduct the necessary business to govern the town. All questions and comments are to be directed to the chair, and the rules of procedure indicate that there will be 2 minutes allotted for any single topic, for comment from any single person on any single topic. The rules of procedures are posted in the town hall and are available for everyone to review.
So we have a couple of additions this evening. So it's a two-part executive session at the end of our meeting tonight. One is to discuss labor relations agreements with employees, and another is to discuss confidential attorney-client communications. We also have Greg here this evening with the Consolidated under pre-requested appearances, so that'll be first up here. And then Jessica will be talking about the VOREC grant under older unfinished business. And I think that was everything. The minutes that need approval tonight are from our last regular meeting, which was August 6th, 2024.
I'll move to approve those minutes.
Second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Go ahead, Greg.
Hi, my name is Greg Povey. I am from Consolidated Communications, and as you are probably aware, the Vermont CUDs hired Consolidated to overlap our existing network in your underserved or non-served addresses in, I guess, mostly West Pawlet and North Pawlet areas. We built last year the Southern Vermont CUD in about 3 months, and we're currently building the Otter Creek CUD and the Lamoille CUD. This will be done by the end of September. You've probably seen the trucks roll through, and basically what this is, like I said, the CUD is paying us to do this work, and we're using our existing network. So anywhere we have a pole line or a strand and a cable, or even an underground location, we would place a fiber alongside our copper network so that all those addresses could be served basically on that new fiber network. So the crews during the build process, what we do is we go out, we overlash everything, we put it all together, put terminals on the poles and in the pedestals just like we would in the copper network, and then we release it for sale. In the meantime, people can go to fidiumfiber.com, sign up for service. If they're interested, there's a box you can check, and we would send somebody out to run a drop to your house ahead of time, because with this new network, everything from our central office, which happens to be in Poultney for this area, all the way to the customer's equipment in his house has to be changed out. So the box on the side of your house where your phone lines come in, that copper drop, and even the copper lines that go from that box inside all have to be replaced. If somebody is interested in having the service and they want the drop run to their house ahead of time, it makes the installs happen a lot quicker. Generally what happens when we flip the switch and turn on a town, our take rate is very high because people are anxious to get this new product. And so to help speed up the processes of getting more people on the network quicker, we try to run the drops ahead of time. So basically from the pole, I'll say to your house, new drop, new gray box on the outside of your house. From there, when they come to do the install, they run a fiber jumper basically from there to what's called an ONT inside the house, which is an optical network transmitting device. It's about this big. Usually they put them in the basement with a power supply, and there's 2 ports on the top. One is for an Ethernet port, one is for a phone jack. Everybody's ONT comes with a VoIP line. you know, comes with the VoIP line. You can make local calls on that. If you wanted to pay for the long distance, you can pay for that. It's an added fee. The prices, you must have the prices in, I think it starts at about $38 a month for the 100 meg, which is symmetrical. For those people that, that means you get the same upload and download speed. And then we have a 300 meg, and we have a 1 gig and a 2 gig. You know, can say this because Scott isn't in the room, but my suggestion is if somebody's interested, they get the 100 meg. It's the cheapest. If they decide they're using that up, they can make a call. All they do is turn it up remotely. No one has to come out to the house again. I will tell you, at my house, I have 100 meg. I have grandkids. I have kids. I have my wife. On paper, I work from home. I'm still at 100 meg. I don't need any more than that. I mean, you kind of don't need any more than that.
And everybody who's on the DSL out there, what are they getting now? Like 1?
Well,
3?
it's probably 3. They're
3.
getting 3 to 7.
Yeah, so 100 is going to be way faster than
So
what everybody
to watch
has.
a movie from like Netflix, just a movie, you're using about 3 meg. That's what you need. A minimum of 3 meg to have everything else off in the house and watch it without it buffering, okay? Now you're gonna have 100 meg. Things aren't gonna buffer. So, my house, I have a lot of things on the internet that are connected to it. And it doesn't buffer with 100 meg. So, because we move through these towns very quickly, and, you know, we'll have I don't know how many feet of fiber we're placing in Pawlet, but it's not a lot compared to how much we have been placing. But literally, I was saying outside to Kristen, you know, last week we placed 1.3 million feet of fiber. You know, that's how quickly we place 1 million feet of fiber across these footprints every week. And this build to do everything in West Pawlet, Wells, and Poultney was about 400,000 feet. And it will be done and turned up by the end of September. So.
Question. My phone now comes from the road to a pole behind my barn and then underground about 500 feet to my house.
So
I've got 2 lines buried.
Mm-hmm. What they do, if they come out to your house, they run the drop, okay? If you have a buried drop, and they first try to see if it's in conduit, existing conduit, and then they would pull in a new drop in that existing conduit. If it is not in conduit, and it is direct buried, they will place a microduct, which is a small inner duct about the size of maybe a little bit bigger than a pencil, and there's a drop that goes in that. They'll place that up to 500 feet, and it's included. There is no cost for the installs.
How do they do that with a ditch witch?
Ditch witch, that's correct. They come out with a ditch witch, they ditch witch it right in for you, and then they get you up and running.
Okay. Now, what's the expense on that?
It's nothing.
It's
up
free.
to 500 feet, it's free. It's all of this is included in the install, and there is no price for the install. It's really about getting more people on our network. I mean, at the end of the day, we're trying to get a take rate. You know, so if we build past 100 homes, we want to get 100 homes on our network.
Right.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
And so over the years, and I started when it was New England Telephone, so I've been here a long time, and you know, we've lost a lot of customers. We used to have every customer, you'd drive up and down the road and you'd go in one of those boxes and the wires would be full and you'd have 400 customers working on a copper line. Now you might have 10, right? You don't have, people don't have our service anymore. So this is a way to get those customers back on our network.
Carly?
Who did you say, if you wanted a drop, who did you say to call?
You go to fidiumfiber.com.
Fidiumfiber.com.
Put your address in there. There's a box to check that says that you're agreeing to let somebody run a drop. And we have drop crews that are out there every week placing drops all across our footprint.
I see. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes?
How far from the pole, if somebody's more than 500 feet off the main power line and everything, how far? Like,
Our drops
there's
are-
a little driveway road, like Rick Sacha's on one. I just wonder if you go up those roads.
So our drops, and I don't know, I mean, we're following the path of everything we have currently. So if the address was served at one point in time, or is served by a drop, we can still serve that with a drop. It's, you know, it's not gonna matter. With the fiber network, the drops are pre-connectorized like these drops that you were using here. And they come in various lengths, up to 2,000 feet. So, you know, we can get pretty far up the driveway.
But it's 500 is free after that.
No, all aerial is free. 500 underground is free. Beyond 500 underground is a cost to the customer.
Gotcha. So through the air, it's
Free, it doesn't matter.
Up to 2,000.
Correct. I don't think you'll find very many customers have more than 500 feet in the underground. And the only reason we went with that is because that's, again, the pre-connectorized drops. Beyond that, there's a different way that we have to do that, and there's added cost on that. That's why but 500 feet is pre-connectorized drops.
I've got one question. Is Fidium reaching out like with mailers and things to folks to get them to sign up?
They have been, and not only do they have mailers, they have, I don't even think Scott could tell you this, and Scott usually does these. They have direct salespeople that go around to neighborhoods a lot of times. So they'll bring in a van load of people that'll all have orange vests on and Fidium gear, and they'll have a Fidium vehicle, and they'll have a whole fleet of people get out of a van and walk through a neighborhood. Now, this is West Pawlet and North Pawlet. Do I really see that happening that much out here? No, but it does happen in like Nashua, Milford, Manchester, Burlington, so they could be doing some of that, but because those direct salespeople get paid by the sale or unit, I don't see that happening much around here because the houses are too far apart.
We like it that way.
Yeah, the houses are far apart and the trees are close.
Yeah, exactly.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Okay.
Sure.
Who will own it in the end?
Who will own it? Well, that's a great question for, I think that we will probably own it in the end.
The agreement is that Consolidated/Fidium will own it in the end, but because the CUD is paying for it via state and federal grants, there are agreements that Consolidated/Fidium is entering into with the CUD to make sure that it is going to be available to the public for as long as the company exists,
right,
and that it will remain at a reasonable rate of fees.
Right.
So there's quite a lengthy. The CUD chair has been negotiating along with our lawyer with Consolidated to make sure that this is going to be a public good, and say heaven forbid that Consolidated should go under and someone else should buy it, they would then have to enter into those same agreements with the CUD that it would be something that everyone could still use.
It's a public-private partnership,
Yeah.
is what it is. And we get a bunch of grants from a bunch of different sources, from RDOF, which is Rural Development Opportunity Funding, and the CUDs, and so we enter into these all the time. And with those agreements, there are, like Jessica was saying, certain criteria that, and they'll have inspectors. They have a third-party inspection team that comes out, and I basically give them a tour of and they make sure that if the CUD is paying for 50 terminals, they go down the road and they count to make sure that we've placed 50 terminals. And then there's a process by which we test everything so that there's an end-to-end test of every fiber, and we do an optical loop test is what it is. And we provide that information back to the inspectors, and not only that, we provide a KMZ file, which I don't know if you guys know what a KMZ file is. It's a Google Earth file. How you can look at Google Earth, you know how the layering is in Google Earth? Okay. So we provide a KMZ file, which is basically the screenshot of the email that I had sent you guys with, or Scott did, with the yellow colored lines. So that layering goes back to the state and the CUD, so they know exactly what's built, where it's built, and how it's built. So,
What about all the stuff that's gonna be abandoned?
you know, that's a great question, and you know, probably more than my 10 minutes of, there are plans in place to remove the copper because there's a lot of value in that. The problem is, in the state of Vermont, we're still regulated as the, you know, last provider with the dial tone on copper network. And we have some agreements in place not in Vermont, but in other states that I manage, where we're actually going through and we're delashing the copper and relashing the fiber up, and we're taking the copper out for scrap value and removing that. I'm not sure that'll ever happen in Vermont in my lifetime.
Right, if you're overlashing everything, you're not getting rid of it.
Well, no, we go through and take it, we delash it, hang it on and then relash it. We take the copper out underneath. They actually have companies that just specialize in that. And they will go through and delash, relash, and they will pay us for them. They don't even charge us. But we'd have to be deregulated for that to take place.
Right.
I know our company would love that. If you can make that happen, you'd be a star.
Anybody else have any questions?
So Jessica and Kristen have my email and contact information. If anybody has any problems, just, you guys can reach, I know you can get right to me. Reach out to me. We do go through these towns very quickly, and we're almost done, and I haven't heard any problems, so that's a good thing. But if there are, just let everybody know that I'll take care of them. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight.
You
Have a
guys
good
have a
evening.
great night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there any announcements?
Yes. The bridge is anticipated to reopen later this week. I think August 23rd was the date, right? That I heard?
I believe so, yes.
So, saddle up. It's coming. That's it for announcements.
Is there anything from the zoning administrator tonight?
No.
No? Planning commission?
Not this week.
Not this week. Road foreman?
Yes. I have. All right. So from Damon, the last couple of weeks, Damon has continued to check roads, cut brush, has been doing some vehicle maintenance, changing tires and replacing cables, has been meeting with a couple of potential applicants, has performed some work on the Rupert Hill Road, checked roads for storm damage, fixed a small washout, graded half of Herrick Brook and sprayed calcium, met with the gentleman from Auction International for the International, performed ditch work on Tadmer, continued to perform some maintenance on 18, more grading, hauling of material, and rebuilt a header on Hickory Hollow. And upcoming work includes continued roadside mowing, continued ditch work, and hopefully gearing up to make some new hires after some good interviews.
Any
He also got, sorry, one other thing I just remembered. He got prices on tires for the grader. So from Warren Tire, and they were $9.35 a piece. So that was another set of prices. I don't recall what
I
the
don't remember
price
what the
was
other
last
numbers were
time.
either, so.
I think
I think
I
the
did
other
put
ones
it
were
in
cheaper than that, but
minutes.
that's
I
just.
thought it was 2,200.
Oh, was it?
11 or 12. I
It was-
think.
Let's
I
see.
thought
So then these are cheaper.
I think.
I think the challenge with Warren Tire, Damon had mentioned, was they want a lot of money to come over, and they'll only come to New York State, and they wanted a lot of money to mount the tires. So, I mean, Damon could easily load them in the back of the dump truck and take them to Warren Tire, or, you know, set something up that way too. But I know the mounting was way more expensive.
So
Mine here must be more.
Is there anything else? And the road, everything else is, anybody have anything to offer?
We had a tree down this morning on Clerk Road. I let Damon know, and he said he'd head right over there, and that's the last I heard of it, so.
Anything from the assessors? Town clerk?
Just a couple of things. The bank TV install will be September 19th, 20th, and 23rd and 24th. There'll be all-day installs. So I'll plan on being here, or I have to be here Thursday, Friday, so I'll switch my hours that week and just make those 2 of my work days. Matt Corey did come in on election day and took a look at what we're looking for him to do with the quad box. He said he could do it. He's going to try and come in next week. Just one A&R notification for you guys. Primary voter turnout was 21%, which is very low. Slightly higher, I think, than the state average, but still that's a low voter turnout. But that's not typical for a primary election. That's all I have.
Anybody have any questions for Deb? Well, thank you very much. Have a good evening. Julie?
3 warrants this week. Payroll 693460, accounts payable 41,228.49. The breakdown is general fund 17,775.10, highway 6,510.76, wastewater 23,877.23. That includes one of the loan payment, which is like once a year. Tax payments are steadily coming in. We have, the funds have hit the bank from the Vermont municipal equipment loan. So when I have the final bills for the upfitting of the truck, I'll be able to finalize closing out on that loan. And after that, we're gonna need to probably figure out how we want to restructure our investment account. Because we'll be moving some money out of that, and then maybe we'll see how and where we want the rest of it to fall. I did get the title to the truck. It came this week, and I have an appointment to talk to Berkshire about fixing the error of not having them listed as a lien holder, and then we will get them off as a lien holder, get the title back, and then have Vermont be the lien holder. So,
Sounds good.
it's complicated, but we're working on it. And that's all I have.
Anybody have any questions for Julie tonight? Motion for the warrants?
Yeah, I'll move that we approve payroll warrant 25012 and accounts payable warrants 25010 and 25013.
Just a real quick, is the amount on 25013 the total accounts payable minus $10?
Yeah. So it'll be 41,218.49.
Got it.
I'll second that.
All good? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. CDI. 25010. So that's part of 25010.
Different account must be.
Is it different week? Where'd she go?
Julie, she just left. You need her?
Yeah. There's one more sheet in here that has a signature, one more signature sheet that I've.
This is New York DMV. What account?
813. That was.
Well, there were 2 accounts payable warrants. So maybe that's one of them?
For $10?
Yeah. Yeah, I think she just had to do the two of them separate.
Maybe I wasn't paying close attention, but there's one sheet for $10.
Yes, that was pre-employment
Okay.
bill, so I was authorized to pay that ahead of time, so I paid that like last week. It was paid in between meetings.
So this has to be signed too, but it's just,
Yeah, I figured, I mean, you have authorized me to do it, but I will just give you a warrant to sign at the next meeting so that everything's covered.
okay. Yeah. Thank you.
You bet. You good?
Yeah, sorry to bug you. Shooting lighter and fireboxes. Emergency management, nothing from him, nothing from Jennifer Sullivan either. Okay. Wastewater, she sent an email out with a whole bunch of reports and stuff. Did she have anything other than reports? I thought I checked them all and all I saw was
It was all reports. So
this report's not
just a
one of
report.
her.
Not a,
She didn't write us any story.
no
Okay.
story, just general reports.
So as far as I know, everything seems to be going good. The reports are, I guess, all right. The only one I pay attention to is the E. coli one, and that's always really good, so. Facilities. Anything going on with the facilities? Everything's happy with your?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Mettawee School Board, did Julie have anything, off anyways, weren't they?
Yeah, they're off the next couple, well,
Older
Another
unfinished
month
business, Dvorak grant.
All right, so this is that grant that we got back in, oh gosh, I think it was 2022, with Rupert and Pawlet together for stuff for the rail trail. And we've already done resurfacing the rail trail parking lots in Rupert and in West Pawlet. And we had ended up with some money left over in that grant. So what we decided to do is that Rupert wants to do one more parking lot, and we wanted in West Pawlet to put in like a picnic bench and a little bench and that little bike repair station and maybe a bike rack somewhere. And we decided a couple months ago, the select board decided that we didn't want to sign a lease agreement with V-Trans to put it in the V-Trans right away. Instead, we wanted to put it on the town-owned lot across the street. So I am later this week I finally gotten the numbers from Rupert. They took a while to get me their numbers, but I'm going to put in for the grant amendment to be able to use the funds that are left over for these additional things. The thing that I wanted to touch base with the select board about was there's been some discussion about where exactly on our town-owned lot we want to put this. It looks right now like we're going to probably have one picnic table and one just like regular bench, and then a bike rack for people to park bikes, and one of those little bike repair stations like they have one up in, I think, Castleton. So a few of these items are going to require not exactly like a full concrete pad, but in order for them to stick in the ground, they have to lay down a little bit of concrete. So it wouldn't be easy to move them, but later if we did want to do something else on the lot, we could move them. It would just involve that they've been sunk with a little bit of concrete. I did suggest to the people I'm talking with that we don't want to lay down like a big concrete pad, because again, but it would be good to figure out the spot we want to put them on our town-owned lot so that we don't have to move them anytime soon. I mean, maybe 10 years down the road we have to move them for something, but it would be great if we didn't have to. So what I was hoping to do was to set up a time sometime like in the next 2 weeks where I could go out there, and I was thinking maybe Mike as the other wastewater person, since we have to make sure we don't encroach in the area we might need to future use for wastewater, that you could maybe come, and we might also make it that just a general invitation to anybody in West Pawlet who wants to come and sort of do a walkthrough of that site, and we can discuss like where would be the best spot for a park bench and a picnic table, and then make some decisions about where it might want to be. And I'm also kind of hoping that if we get folks from West Pawlet to come and be involved with this process of deciding where to put some amenities, that some of the people who were involved with the West Pawlet master plan, if anybody from that wants to get involved with, if anyone wants to do any beautification efforts along with this, you know, we're going to have a picnic bench. Maybe someone will want to put in a planter with flowers. Maybe someone will want to volunteer to upkeep the picnic bench, you know, I don't think it'll need a lot of upkeep, but you know, I know that we have some folks who upkeep our benches here like once a year or so on the town green, and that's really nice. So I just wanted to make sure that that sounds good to everybody, that we do a little walkthrough and figure out where to put these items.
Okay, that would work for me too. We can
Yeah.
work on some times or something
Yeah.
that would be suitable and stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking, I mean, I don't know if you know what times you might be available, but if we wanted people in general to be able to come, either like a weekday evening, but not too late because it does get dark, or like on a Saturday, if it was possible. And then once we decide on a time, I could contact people. I can contact Michael, who did the West Pawlet master plan, and he has like the email list of people who were involved with that. We could just invite everybody to come. Do you want to try to pick a time now, or you want to talk about it later?
Time for me, like a weeknight. I come through there at 5 anyway, so
Yeah.
I don't know if that would work for others or not. Or.
I don't know. Would anybody here who lives in West Pawlet available by 5, or do you think evenings would be better for folks, or like on a Saturday?
I don't know. Evenings may probably.
Evenings might be.
Saturdays are definitely much busier for me.
Yeah, evening. Let's see. I'm like, I want to be able to advertise it a little bit. Would sometime toward the end of next week work? Like the 29th? Or, or maybe the week after?
The week after is
September.
Is Labor Day week already.
Oh, yeah.
So.
There's a meeting of the select board on September 3rd, right?
Yeah. So, and
Today's only the 20th. The 29th sounds like a good
yeah,
idea.
29th. Yeah, that's Thursday. Thursday's a good night. There's not a lot of stuff going on Thursday night. I will make a note. It's 29th. You said you come through at 5 anyway?
Yeah.
All right. 5 p.m. Someone from Rutland Regional might be able to come down, but they may or may not. I'll see.
Volunteering to maintain.
Yeah.
Frank, you're gonna bring refreshments? Cool.
Lobster
Ooh.
rolls.
Everyone will come.
And beer. More people come. the two issues is that we weren't able to address because we were part of this grant was to fix up Bruce Serjane's building with a private public partnership, and the V-Trans engineers didn't approve the building for the use. So that leaves some floating funds.
It wasn't V-Trans engineers, it was, we hired Marble Valley Engineering. So, but yeah, they didn't approve it.
But they didn't approve it.
Right.
But that was going to have bathrooms, for example. Okay, and so there's a question for the users on the bathroom issue, and since the sewer plant was there, we might, in a V-Trans, somehow might be able to figure something out where an addendum gets put onto the sewer plant where it's a bathroom for the sewer plant and for the rail trail users, and have somebody maintain that, maybe who's under contract that's there every day.
The sewer plant has bathrooms.
This is not
Could
something that anybody
they
else
be
has
used
thought of.
in any way for the?
Nobody's using the sewer plant bathrooms,
Okay.
not the public, because they're inside the building.
Right.
But that's a whole nother deal, separate from this grant. So
Right, but there's no property, because we wouldn't enter into a V-Trans agreement, which would be a long-term thing.
That's
The bathroom issue is something that's out there.
Get some more facts about it and then talk more, but right now it's just ideas.
Oh, and I did have one more thing. It's not exactly related to the VOREC, but it is related to something that Frank had brought up to me last week, so I just wanted to address it now under old business if possible. It's also about that town-owned lot. It's been brought up to me that I don't think that we've ever surveyed that lot.
Right.
And that there might be some concern about where exactly the line is with Ray Duquette's building. So I'm wondering, I know we've got the municipal assistance people who are helping us with future grants for the wastewater plant expansion. I have put to them, and they haven't got back to me yet, if that grant might be able to also fund doing a survey on that lot.
That would be beneficial.
Because it would be worthwhile. If we've got to build out onto that lot anyhow for a sludge tank, they better know where the lot line is. So I just put that into them, so.
No, that would be beneficial.
One additional quick is the old freight building, like my father's building, when he owned that building, it had a hook up there, and he had to pay a sewer fee even though there's no bathroom or line to it. And Bruce Surjane's building was that way, and what we've done is found that there's a hookup, so Bruce is going to be paying a sewer fee on that, right? And that freight building has gotten away with no sewer bill whatsoever through the years, when technically it should have been billed annually for a sewer fee. So I think that we could examine that and at least have one more user on there and bill potentially V-Trans for that, even though it's
more facts.
You're right, but that's what's, you know, we're talking about reducing sewer fees so we get more users.
Is there anything else under old or unfinished business?
That would be a perfect spot for a bathroom.
New business. Anything for new business? Public comment. Anything for public comment? Okay. Somebody want to make the motion?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
No,
No,
we have to go into
After
executive
adjourn, then we go into executive session. I'm sorry,
To discuss
Adjourn from
labor
the,
relations
we can't
agreements with
adjourn from our
And
regular meeting
confidential.
either.
potential attorney-client
Yep.
communications.
That's it.
That's what Bob said.
I was so
I
excited.
know.
No, we're not gonna get out of here in 45 minutes. I wish.
Did you retract the motion to adjourn?
Okay, great.
I did, I changed it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.